The Black Phone is a new Blumhouse original horror film from director Scott Derrickson, who directed films like Sinister, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and Doctor Strange, and stars Mason Thames, Madeline McGraw, and Ethan Hawke. This movie is about after being abducted by a child killer played by Ethan Hawke and locked in a soundproof basement, a 13-year-old boy played by Mason Thames starts receiving calls on a disconnected phone from the killer's previous victims. The film is an hour 42 and is rated R. Welcome back to a brand new movie review here at Max Talk Movies. We're talking about The Black Phone. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do these types of movie reviews, TV show reviews, movie rankings, and box office breakdown show every single Monday. So please subscribe, ring that bell. Also comment down below and know, have you seen this film? If you have, did you like it, not like it? It's one of your favorite horror films of the year. Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, if you have not seen it, tell me, are you gonna check it out this weekend? Or are you gonna wait for it on streaming? And then like the video, guys, the thumbs up button. That is a great way to support this channel. It helps your algorithm out so more people will check out this review. So The Black Phone was a movie I was extremely excited for. Each of the trailers got me really pumped. Scott Derrickson, who is I think one of the more underrated horror directors out there. Sinister is a really great movie. The Exorcism of Emily Rose is another really solid movie. And then I like Doctor Strange, and Scott Derrickson was at the time, he was supposed to do Doctor Strange 2. But there was a fallout with him and Marvel and Disney, and that led to Sam Raimi doing Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, and that led Scott Derrickson into doing this film. This one's was supposed to come out in last year, supposed to come out earlier this year, and now it drops here on June 24th. Ethan Hawke got me excited, so I was really excited for this movie. And let's get my positives, my negatives, and my score. This is a really, really good, inventive film. I think the trailers, the one thing that's kind of misleading, that the trailers want you to believe that this is a straight up horror film. And what's kind of great about this movie is that this is very much a psychological thriller mixed with some supernatural horror elements. And that's where this movie really becomes genius. This is a genius concept that feels very fresh and original, with the film taking place in 1970s. The idea of this grabber, who literally is called the grabber, played by Ethan Hawke, taking these kids, and the fact that this one kid who he takes, Finney, can hear these calls from the people who Ethan Hawke has killed in the past. It's a really genius concept that gets even more deeply explored when you watch the movie. As I said, this is as I said, very terrifying, off-putting film, really from start to finish. Once you get past like the opening 5 or 10 minutes, the movie has a clear tone from the rest of the film. Now, this is a pretty off, you feel off just the entire time. And that's one of the big positives of this movie, is that really it is Scott Derrickson, both as a director and as a co-writer in this film. It's a very smart story from start to finish. This movie could have gone into dumb territory very quickly, because character decisions could have really altered this film. The way characters talk or anything could obviously hinder the film, but these are not dumb kids. This is not a dumb villain who just leads the way for stuff to ensue in the third act of the movie. This film is very patient. It takes its time. And while, yes, it might not explore everyone's background, which I think is one of the more cooler aspects of this film, Ethan Hawke doesn't give an exposition dump explaining his background, why he's attacking kids. He's just a terrifying individual throughout the entire film. And that really also just comes from the writing. It's a very well-written film. You feel like each aspect of how Finney could possibly escape is a crucial aspect of the story, and you don't feel telegraphed or predictable. The movie feels very unpredictable, especially in the last 30 minutes of the movie. But this movie, again, would not work unless for the cast as well, because two of the main characters are child actors, which I know a lot of people get very nervous about, but I think both actors knock it out of the park. Madeline McGraw, who I think steals the entire film. She has a lot of comedy involved. She plays Finney's sister, who's also trying to find her older brother, Gwen. She was both hilarious but real, and there's one really heartbreaking scene that it's really tough to watch with her character. And it's really not just because of the action that's happening in the scene, but really her performance. And she's really a tough cookie, as they say, and she's really excellent in the film. She's been acting a lot more than Mason Thames has been in, but she is, I think both of these actors will be big time stars in the coming years, because these are two excellent, excellent performances. And as I said, Mason Thames, who is the main character of the film, Finney, who gets taken, he's really good. If you're not on board with his character or his performance, you're probably not going to be on board with the rest of the film. But what I'll say is that I thought he was absolutely fantastic in the film. He has great chemistry. Him and Madeline McGraw have amazing chemistry. They feel like brother and sister. And it's good news for Mason Thames because he has to work one-on-one with Ethan Hawke for the majority of the movie. And again, their chemistry is really good. And again, he's not just a dumb kid who's just screaming and whining. He just feels like a real kid. And that, I think, is one of the more important aspects of the film. But of course, the big headline obviously is Ethan Hawke, who's by far one of the most headline actor in the entire film. This is a different type of performance that I think in his entire career. It's been a big year for him if you're including Moon Knight and The Northman. This is a pretty big year for Ethan Hawke, and I think this might be his strongest performance of the year. This is one of his most interesting characters that he has played. It's literally just the grabber. The mask designs are really cool in the movie. And he, at times, yes, he'll be a bit over the top, but it makes the character just way more terrifying. And every time he is on screen, the movie just feels tense. And one of the best, as I go back to the writing of Scott Derrickson, one of the smarter aspects of the film is the usage of Ethan Hawke. He's not in the movie every single scene because the movie's not about him. It's about this kid played by Finney, played by Mason Thames. The way they use Ethan Hawke is sometimes just as good as the performance because he's used very sparingly for the right reasons. And they don't just plop him in every scene to get you to be scared. They put him in the right situations. It feels like all of his scenes are very memorable, and his chemistry with Thames keeps driving the intensity of the film. Again, his usage really surprised me that he's not in the movie as much as I think a lot of people think, but that actually was a pleasant surprise because the way they used him was extremely, extremely smart. It's a very confined film. It feels like if the movie Room that Brie Larson won an Oscar for, with a horror supernatural aspect to it, that's what this movie feels. It's very intense, really from start to finish. You feel off from start to finish. And you feel it's very unpredictable. And because you don't know really anything about this villainous character, you don't know what makes him tick, why he's killing kids, anything like that. And I found that to be a very fascinating character, one of the more fascinating villains in a horror film that's just an original villain that I've seen in such a long time. It was so refreshing to see this type of horror villain. And Ethan Hawke, who continues to have one of his best years of his career, I think continues it because this is an excellent, excellent performance. The score is really terrifying. And as I said, the film is unpredictable, smart, all of those things, feels very confined. And you're pretty much nervous throughout the entire film, which I quite enjoyed. I do have a couple critiques. There's some action scenes where people are getting beat up. And there's some sequences where someone gets hit with a rock and they're kind of just bleeding. And you think it'd be way more than that. There's a couple of those scenes that kind of pulled me out of the movie for that type of sequence. And I would have wished that the dad, who's played by Jeremy Davies, was a lot of terrifying things going on. His relationship with his kids is very strange. I would have liked to see a bit more reasoning why he's this aggressive with his kids. And you'll see in the movie what I'm talking about. But I wish he had a little bit more to do. But overall, this is one of my favorite films of the year so far this year. This is why Blumhouse is known to being the staple for these type of horror films. They've had such an up and down filmography in the past couple of years, but so far, this is my favorite horror movie that I've seen this year. Great direction and writing from Scott Derrickson, and haunting performance from Ethan Hawke, and two amazing child performances from Mason Thames and Madeline McGraw. So I'm going to give The Black Phone a 4.5 out of 5, a 92% for Black Phone. I do believe that this will be on my list for my top 10 of the year, unless we have a lot more great movies coming out, because this is a fantastic film for me that was fresh, did not feel like a reused horror template, felt like its own thing, and that was pretty awesome to watch. So that's my thoughts on The Black Phone. Please subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to this channel. More reviews are coming very soon. Comment down below. Do you agree with me, disagree with me? Will this review make you see the movie, like the video? I'll see you guys soon.